little more for the video.
Down here, I can put it in this thing now. What's after this? One day I need y'all to come help me make my house pretty like this. Jumped up the yard like this.
No, y'all make it pretty. I just need help envisioning what I'm going to, how I'm going to do it. I don't know how I'm going to do it. Like, I'll go tell you not to get me, like, just keep up to yourself.
You know that I have
Where's in the way?
that one asparagus planted itself right here.
How'd that happen?
I don't know, a bird or dirt where we moved it.
Over where yours was this morning at the wood pile,
Keep it there.
that's where it needs to be.
Wait, get back in. You got to move. That's what we ought to do. Hey, do you mind, if we just had Keith and George here to just like bulldoze just a little bit of land out back out there? She just, all of us trying to get in it. Get over here. Come here. I forgot I have to cut my soap. Come here.
You heard anything from Katie when she'll be home?
She had, a little while earlier, said she thought they might be headed this way, but she wasn't sure. I'm going to take her in and cut my soap, and I'll try to come back out. Come on. Olive. Come on.
Austin going down there tonight?
Yeah.
After work?
Mm-hmm.
Let's back that thing over here closer. Might need to move this down.
There was my clippers. Oh, okay. It's been a beautiful day in southern Appalachia. Matt and I have
been working all day outside, and it's been so enjoyable. This is the first day. We've done some stuff outside, but this is the first really warm day where we've been out all day getting things ready to start our garden. And we've just had a great day. It's so rewarding when you get a lot done, and at the end of the day you can see what you've done and feel, of course, the soreness of your muscles and your bones, but also be glad that you really feel accomplished. So it's been a good day for that. When I first started gardening, of course I grew up gardening with Pap and Granny, but it's different when you're doing it on your own, you know. And so when I first started gardening, I remember I would research, you know, I'd go on the internet and I would Google this and search that and read all kinds of gardening sites. And I guess a lot of what I was actually reading was mostly like people maybe in suburbs or the more urban area, and they were mostly using raised beds. And so I at that time, you can kind of see behind me, and in a minute I'm going to show you my front garden, but we don't have a whole lot of flat land available for gardening, but we've got way more than we had when we first moved in. When we first moved into this house, Matt and Pat built it, we barely had any yard. And Matt and I just didn't really care that we didn't have much yard. We didn't realize, wasn't thinking about gardening at that young age. And especially once the girls come along and they really needed a place for a swing set and a place to ride their bicycles and that kind of thing. So we had our kind of around our house regraded, and so we have more now than we did then. But anyway, at that time when I had those little small places, I remember I called Pap one day and I was so excited, and I said, Pap, you know, there's this, I've been looking at magazines and things on the internet, and I see there's these raised garden beds, and I think I could do that in my little area that I have since I don't have much room. And I was just all excited about it, thinking I had just discovered this new thing that, you know, he didn't know about. And I can remember he just kind of chuckled and laughed, and he said, why, Tipper, people's been doing that since I was a boy. They just didn't call them raised beds, they called them patches. He said every woman about it had a little patch right by her house, right by her kitchen door, so that it'd be handy to her kitchen. Kind of a kitchen garden's what they actually called it. Anyway, so he thought I was funny, thinking that I had discovered something that he didn't know about gardening. But he said, "Well, we've been doing that for a long time, Tipper. People know about that, even when I was a boy." But I was going to read you from the Dictionary of Smoky Mountain English what it has to say about it. So, a small piece or area of ground distinct from surrounding land by the crop or plant that dominates it. Most often it is a cultivated plot of farmland that may be detached from the main area of farming. See also cane patch, corn patch, patch farming. So this definition is talking more about, you've probably, if you grew up around gardening, you heard somebody say, I'm going to the corn patch, or I'm going to the bean patch, or he's got a patch of potatoes down there below the house that's really doing good. So that kind of usage is really talking about a larger area than the little like raised bed patches that I was talking about. Let's see, Arthur, Western North Carolina, this is 1914. Land was plentiful in those primitive times, and as fast as a piece of new ground was worn out, another patch was cleared and cultivated until it, in its turn, was given over to weeds and pasture. So that's another great gardening term, new ground. New ground just means that it's a piece of land, soil, dirt, whatever you want to call it, where you've never gardened before. So sometimes you have to clear off that new ground. Maybe it's got trees on it, or brush, or briars, or something like that. And then that's your new ground for that year. So that's another great term. 1926, honeycut, 20 years. Old Man Henry said, we have plenty of meat for tomorrow. Let's hunt the Quill Rose ginseng patch. So that's a different kind of patch there. So another one that fits more what I was talking about is patch farming instead of just the patch. Like I said, that you think of a patch as a bigger corn patch, a bean patch, that kind of thing. But patch farming, this was the citation from the dictionary, 1972, Graham County, which Graham County is the next county over from me. With the first stages of early clearing, the farmer did patch farming near the cabin. Many farmers today still speak of a patch of corn or other crops. The farmer gradually and systematically extended the patches into wider fields by each year extending his farming into a new area known as new ground. So that's really interesting, the part about the extending the patches. That's kind of what Matt and I have done. We've started with, I'm going to show you our big garden, and it started really small, and then the one part of it had flowers in it, and then gradually we extended that. Then we even extended that, you know, as Corey and Katie got older, they weren't using the yard as much to play on swing sets or to ride bicycles, so we kept taking a little bit more and a little bit more till we increased our patches to where it's a fairly large patch now. So this part up here, you can kind of see we have several little patches, my fancy raised beds that Pap told me people had been using them for a long time. And you see the chickens back there, they're staring at me wondering what's going on. And then we have some more over in this area. And then you probably noticed our green stalks back over here by the greenhouse. We have 2 of those. I have strawberries in one that did so good last year, and I have some strawberries ordered from our local 4-H. So when they come, I'm going to put them in the other one. And then we have some of the grow bags we used last year, which did really well, really great. If you've ever not ever used them, that's a great way if you don't have much room, or even if you're just wanting some container type gardening. Those worked so well for us. And I got some for Christmas, so I'll have more than that this year. So in this little patch right here, and then we have one kind of matching it on the other side, we have these big steps here. I'll show you in a minute. Those both are asparagus beds, so those are both full of asparagus, which is really, it takes a long time for asparagus to get started, but then once it does, that's just such a wonderful spring, especially in the spring, to have. If you like asparagus, we love it. So that's our largest garden area, but it used to be yard, and then gradually over time, just like the dictionary said, we've kind of increased our patch area to make a larger garden until now we just have that narrow strip of green down through there to walk in. So this is looking at the garden kind of from the other end, so you can see the big garden. We have the cattle panels where we do our beans. Those cattle panels down at the lower end is where we'll do our tomatoes. And then in this bed opposite it's just a flower bed. We could actually use it for garden space, but the porch, the porch keeps it so shaded that I don't think it would do well for growing vegetables. Mostly what I have in it is hostas, which of course love the shade. My Lenten roses are the first thing that I have bloom each year. Sometimes they bloom as early as late December, and they are just lovely. So then this long bed, once you turn back the other way, it continues to go on down towards the driveway, down towards Granny's house, till it kind of gets too steep down there, and that's where my blueberry bushes are. So over time we have, kind of like Pap said, you know, that people would do when he was a boy, and certainly what the dictionary was saying, we have made our patches into a pretty good sized garden. It's funny, we all tease and say that we live on the side of a goat bluff, so if we had more flat land we would certainly use it, but we make do with what we've got.